FM. You can stream us from that SuperTalk Mississippi app. You can always catch us on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station, and you can watch us. We are on your computer or your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. But if you want to watch the eclipse of the sun that's coming up on April the 8th, which Mississippi will experience an 89.6% eclipse, there's some things that you need to know, and there's some events you might want to take part in. And joining us today is our favorite Nicole Smith with the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, who, of course, has got you covered if that's what you want to do. So, hey, Nicole.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. So this is super exciting, and I need to know the math behind the 89.6%. I don't really need to know it, but that's just a very specific percentage of the eclipse.
Well, you know, when mathematicians are involved, they want to be precise. So you can feel very comfortable saying 90%, but the scientist wants to be honest with you and say 89.6.
No, I appreciate that. So this is a big deal. Why is this a big deal?
So an eclipse isn't something that happens just every day. You know, there are lunar eclipses and there are solar eclipses, and you do have one somewhere on the planet about every 18 months. But a chance to see a total eclipse is kind of a rarity, and especially in our part of the country. So the last time we had something kind of close to that, we had a partial in October. It was very subtle. And then if you go back to 2017, we had one that was around almost at 80%. But and that one was pretty dramatic. But this one, I mean, it's just the sun has been a little more active. They're calling this the big Helios year as far as that goes, and that means lots of energy, lots of things to make notations on. And with it being 89.6%, that means we're going to start seeing changes even in a little bit of animal behavior. The light's going to look different. It's going to be very notable. Like, you're going to be telling your grandchildren about it.
Well, that's pretty cool. And so what are you guys doing there at the Museum of Natural Science to sort of help people get the best experience possible?
So we have been preparing for this in one form or another since the very last big eclipse, since 2017.
Wow.
And we put our staff through a training with the public education aspect of NASA called AstroCamp. So all of our staff have been kind of put through something special to kind of know how to do different activities and different educational things that are going to make the day worthwhile. And we also decided that we wanted this to be a little more controlled. So we set it up to where you get your ticket in advance through our website, and once those tickets are sold out, that's it. We're not doing any outdoor sales that day.
Okay.
Because we're having an attendance cap to make the parking more comfortable, to make the thing not so crowded, to make it a better quality experience overall. But just to understand the logistics of it.
Oh,
but we've got an inflatable planetarium here. NASA's bringing that. They picked us as one of their special sites. So we're going to have an inflatable planetarium with little classes going on in 10-minute increments. We're going to have sun spotter scopes. These are solar telescopes. A couple of them will be here, kind of transmitting the image of the moon as it transfers across the sun so that groups of people can see that. We're going to have glasses sharing stations. Even though everyone who buys their ticket, go ahead and get your ticket, glasses will come with that. So when you come up and you show your confirmation on your phone, hey, I bought my ticket, you'll be like, cool, check in here, here's your glasses, here's your schedule, this is what the day's going to be like. And let me look at my schedule here. We've got solar oven demonstrations. We're making chalk art to like Eclipse. We're doing the Soundscapes project, which is, I'm going to say right now, freaking awesome. Have you heard about Eclipse Soundscapes?
No, I was just going to say, well, tell me what that is, because, anything you guys do is always unique and different and educational, but I haven't heard of this.
Oh, this is so neat. Okay, I'm going to nerd out for just a minute here.
Go for it.
But in 1935, there was this animal observation committee that had, a couple of years before they got together, and they said, my chickens were doing weird things during the eclipse. And my friend's like, yeah, well, my dog did this weird thing. And they said, well, the animals started, the birds started roosting, and the crickets started singing. And as they were talking about it, said, we're probably not the only people that noticed something weird. Let's see if anybody else had some observations. So this is in the early 1930s. They put a letter in a newspaper and they said, "Hey, if you notice anything, mail your notes to this address." And it was at a Boston museum. And so about 498 people participated. And they mailed their letters in, and this little committee, this animal observation committee, got together and they started making notes and cataloging it all, and they published the first real citizen science project results about what we noticed about animal behavior during an eclipse.
Pretty cool. So what?
It is. And
so
I mean,
like
it's the very first citizen science. It's so cool.
Is it
So,
is it things like they just like maybe they wander or they just act different? Will they start walking on their hind legs? I mean, what can
Well, they do start doing their nighttime behaviors. Like birds in flight will be like, "Oh, look, the sunset." Like that's what they think, and so they start, roosting down for the night. Crickets will definitely start coming up. This is closer toward totality, but we're going to have enough of a blockage. We might, start noticing some changes. There's, I'm trying to think. Dogs sometimes get confused by the sun just changing suddenly. They might shake their heads. They might look confused. It's interesting to see what happens, and there's been a lot of studies on wildlife and their behaviors doing it over the years, but this year, is the first time since that original 1935 study that they're getting the help of people around the planet that are observing this to just use this little app and upload their observations.
Oh, that's really cool. So you can be really part of something interesting and unique.
Yeah. And so we're a registered site with it, and we're kind of doing it a slightly different way because of us being a host site for an eclipse event. But yeah, that's good. I don't know. We're weirdly proud of that. I think
you should be. I think
really
that's,
great.
And it's not like we're going to get another opportunity to do this probably in our lifetime or anytime
not unless
soon.
You're really willing to travel. We're not in North America. We're not going to see another total eclipse till 2044, and even then, it's going to be toward Alaska.
So now is your chance. I know a lot of folks. We even have some listeners, Nicole, that are traveling. They're going to wherever those areas are where you could see, I guess, the most of it. They're making a huge sort of event.
Totality.
Mm-hmm. But at least knowing that, being prepared to take advantage of what will be here in Mississippi, I think we should all do. I know your event is 11:30 to 3:30 p.m., but is there a specific time that we should keep in mind in terms of when it's going to be at that 89.6%? And then, how long does that last? Is it moving fast, slow?
So it takes a long time for the moon to completely block the sun. So the event starts at 11:30, but the blockage of the sun begins at 12:33.
Very precise. You mathematicians.
And then it's going to be very, at its optimum, at its maximum blockage, that 89.6% at 1:52 p.m.
Right before good things.
At 3:11 p.m., the last little bit of the moon is scooching away from the sun at that point, scooting over it. And then, and then the event ends at 3:30 just because some people might linger and hang out a little bit. But it's going to be really wonderful. I am very proud of what we've put together. There's even an art project that's during it. It's called the Eclipse chalk art. It's actually a craft that NASA came up with. But what I like about it is when you're making this little piece of art, it's part of a long tradition of documenting eclipse. People used to draw them well before they could ever photograph them, and NASA even has an archive of them, from the late 1800s, on up till, the most recent ones. These drawings all the way to photographs and what we learn about them throughout the years. It's just really nice to be a part of that story.
Imagine what it was like to be some of the first, or even before you had words for what it was or understanding, and just seeing that. I can imagine all the emotions, all the things, whatever your imagination could race to if you were a part of that. There's
awe and there's wonder, and you have to imagine if you didn't have a great understanding of how space and planets work, you might have thought it was the end times or something, but no, really, it's just this astronomy phenomena. It's good stuff.
So
But
get
it's
your
interesting.
tickets,
There's
right,
even some great
Nicole?
There's Renaissance paintings, about eclipse being featured. There's so much of a great record, a great historical record of how humans have learned from these things. Einstein's theory of relativity was proven by an early eclipse.
And you can be a part of that on April the 8th at the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, but you got to get your ticket now. Once they're gone, they're gone. You can do that on their website. Nicole, can't wait to have you back for the next thing.
Thank you. And just a note, no outdoor sales, tickets in advance only. Thank you so much.
All righty, thank you. Stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.